Hi, my name is Zarina Aishamiran and welcome back to my LTM Fundamental Concepts series, where today it will be part 2 of SNATs. In this video, I will be covering the different types of SNATs along with some considerations when implementing SNATs. Okay, so let's start off with a standard SNAT. Here, using TMSH, you can see an origin address, a 32-bit address, 10.10.10.1 is translated to 172.16.0.1, and that's all it does. Right, let's look at AutoMap SNAT. This literally chooses a translation address from the available self-IP addresses. So what that means is when you set up your VLAN and your subnet, you specify your self-IPs from your subnet. And those self-IPs that are available will then be used as your AutoMap SNATs for translation. So now we have the SNAT pool. The SNAT pool is literally a pool of addresses which where either of them can be chosen for the SNAT. So within this piece of configuration, you can see 2 IP addresses that will be the SNAT pool members configured by the user. And what's important to know here also is the algorithm that's used to determine which one to detect to utilize would be the least connection algorithm. If you want to know more about all of the load balancing algorithms, the main ones of course, because there's quite a lot, then do reach out in the comments down below and I'll be more than happy to make a video around this. Intelligent SNATs. Now, these are used within an IROR to determine whether to translate based off specific packet information, and usually that data, that packet data, is based off the server or the port in order to select a translation address. If you want to create an intelligent SNAT, first you need to create an SNAT or an SNAT pool, which the big IP will use to select a translation address. You also need to assign an IROR that you will create as a resource to the virtual server. Okay, so if you would like the big IP to base its selection of translation addresses on the destination port, then first you would need to create a data group, and that data group will contain the destination ports. You must then create an IROR that applies the SNAT translation address to connections using a port specified in that data group. So if you look at my screen, you can see the config basically for creating a data group on the LTM device with the ports 80, 81 and 8080, which is defined within the curly brace brackets. Now, if you remember, I did mention an IROR would need to be created as well. So if you look at the config on the screen here, you'll be able to see that an SNAT translation address of 172.16.0.1 is basically using the ports that were defined in the ports data group config, which I previously showed you, and I've just put an arrow on the screen so you can see the name of the data group, which is called ports. Easy. Okay, so let's move on to SNAT considerations. There are many, but I'm just going to concentrate on 3 main considerations. The first is that, it's a no-brainer. Only use SNATs when necessary to avoid overconsumption of IPs. Because remember, we're involving more IP addresses. Secondly, when the client and the destination is on the same subnet, you must configure an SNAT on the big IP system so that connections and responses are passed through the big IP system. And if that doesn't make any sense to you, try to check out my part 1 video where I essentially explained how traffic is routed through the big IP, and if it goes back straight directly to the client, usually it's basically dropped because that wasn't the original route. Finally, the third consideration would be to remember that SNATs only accept TCP and UDP traffic. Okay, so that covers up part 2 of SNATs in this video. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learnt the different types of SNATs that are out there. So we have the standard SNAT, the SNAT pool, automap SNAT, and of course intelligent SNATs. I hope you were able to understand the SNAT considerations. There's a whole bunch out there, but I covered 3 main SNAT considerations to basically follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. Please like, subscribe, and leave your comments down below. Bye!